Hi, Misha Gill with Speedwell Law. This is a video I put together about the benefits of a revocable living trust, and I made a list here, so in no particular order, but starting with a big one first. A revocable living trust avoids the expense and time of probate upon your death. And that's because a trustee's job is not contingent upon court order. And an executor, on the other hand, their job is contingent upon the approval of the court. There's various different processes in different states about how you get that approval, but in general, it takes longer and it costs more money to have your job done under the supervision of the court. So a revocable living trust avoids the expense and time of probate upon your death. Next, if you have assets in multiple states, a revocable living trust avoids your assets going through probate in different states. Multiple probates, you're going to have a primary jurisdiction for the administration of your estate, your home jurisdiction, and then you're also going to have ancillary probates in different states. And they may be full-on probates and they may be abbreviated probates, but you're going to have duplicative costs if you own property in multiple states. And most of the time, the way that this happens is that people own multiple real properties in different states. And conveying assets to the next generation that lie in multiple states is a magnitude of order of cost greater than if you were to do a trust and avoid probate in all of those states. And so when you have assets in multiple states, it's a particular trigger for doing estate planning with a revocable trust. Next, the administration of your estate can be handled more efficiently and easier with a living trust, and this is because of the synergistic effects of avoiding probate and the two characteristics that I told you about before, avoiding court oversight and avoiding multiple courts having oversight of your estate is going to allow your estate to be handled more efficiently. Next, a revocable living trust prevents the court system from interfering to an extent, right? So if you build into your trust alternative dispute resolutions like arbitration clauses, and if you are empowering the trustee, and you can even go ahead and appoint a trust protector with all of these powers that can provide relief for difficult situations facing your family, you can build that into the trust, because a trust is like its own little contained body of law. It's a contract. And to the extent that there are remedies available in the trust itself, you can avoid the court from interfering. If there is no remedy available through the trust, then you might still need to go to court to resolve the dispute. And so there are laws like trust decanting laws. Next benefit, a revocable living trust allows your family and heirs the maximum amount of privacy by avoiding the public court system. And this is actually a really big one. The privacy aspect of inheritance through a trust is a big deal. When people have noticed that someone is inheriting a large chunk of money, it tends to call people up out of the woodwork, and your heirs could be susceptible to their charms and wiles. And so if you can keep everything private, why wouldn't you? Moreover, if there are any disputes about the estate, that's going to be fodder for journalists, investigative journalists writing articles about interesting family drama. We all have that voyeuristic tendency. We all love to see those dramas play out, but that's airing dirty laundry, and you can avoid airing that dirty laundry. Avoid your family ever having that prospect, allowing people to try their case in the court of public opinion to some extent. More now than ever, that's a dynamic we face. So the privacy aspect of a revocable living trust is very, very beneficial for families. You can minimize the amount of emotional stress your family will experience with a living trust, avoiding court, avoiding emotional drama, keeping everything private. Only one set of instructions and one plan is needed for all of your assets. That's true. All of your assets are going to be governed by the trust document, wherever they are. And so you're not going to be doing a piecemeal plan where you're looking at beneficiary designations and joint tenancies and what the will says, what the gift letter might say, or there's piecemeal ways of doing it, and then there's efficient centralized ways of doing it, and the trust is the best way to achieve that centralized effect. Revocable living trust prevent any unintentional disinheriting. That's because you are providing for all the people that you want to inherit in your estate, rather than the state code, the state laws applying to the distribution of your estate, which can have various wonky results, Downton Abbey-like results. If you go ahead and do all of your planning through a trust, you are going to achieve a lot of certainty about who's going to inherit your estate. Living trusts ensure that the distributions to each of your heirs are equitable and fair according to your judgment. This is again a factor of just making your wishes known. Your assets can be kept in trust until your beneficiaries reach an age you determine. Also, another benefit of planning ahead is just selecting an age at which you invite participation of your beneficiaries into financial benefits from your estate. There is benefit to delaying it, but there's also costs to delaying it too long, and so that's something that we often talk about with our clients. Living trusts allow any beneficiary with special needs to be provided for on a continual basis. Yes, the trust will have special distributions clause that allow for special treatment for any beneficiary that is a special needs beneficiary, whether that existed when you put the trust together or it's a situation that can develop over time. Obviously, if beneficiaries have kids that are special needs, or if someone suffers a traumatic brain injury, then yeah, special needs provisions may be required, and a trust can plan for that. The inheritance of any minors will not be controlled by the court system. Yeah, it speaks for itself. It's a lot more efficient if you empower a trustee to make prudent arrangements for finances for underage beneficiaries. Revocable living trusts are harder to contest than wills are. Very true. Very, very true. Revocable living trusts are going to often have no contest clauses, just like wills will, but it's a lot harder if you don't have the court system to use as a cudgel against the person who has the job. And so the privacy aspect again comes into play here. These trusts can be canceled or changed at any time. It's a revocable living trust. And the term living means, it's just a marketing term. It means that it's easy to live with. It can be canceled or changed at any time. Revocable trusts can be managed by a professional asset management firm and a professional trustee, so that the investments are going to be wise, diversified, protected to the extent that they can be under traditional financial principles of asset management. And then the professional trustee job, if you're going to give this job to a professional, and investment and administration of the trust to professionals, that can be a real boon, because there's going to be no drama and there's going to be effective, efficient investment of the money, so that the beneficiaries ultimate benefit to a greater extent. The more I practice, the more I think that professional trustees have a huge role to play in estate planning, especially for people that don't have a lot of loved ones, either because they have smaller size families just due to circumstance, or family abroad. Especially if you have family abroad, you have to have a co-trustee who's a U.S. citizen or entity. And just for when there's a lot of money at stake. Professional management has a lot of boon to deliver. All right, next, revocable living trusts can include tax planning to eliminate or reduce state estate taxes or federal estate taxes, especially if you live in a decoupled state. A decoupled state is one where the estate tax is not pinned to the federal estate tax. There are a lot of tax planning devices to fully take advantage of federal exemption amounts, state exemption amounts. that are not going to be possible unless you do some sophisticated planning. And the trust, a revocable trust, can deliver that sophisticated planning for probably up to about, right now in 2022, about $30 million, $20 to $30 million. Okay. And finally, revocable living trust provides you with peace of mind. Yes, they are, for all the reasons we just enumerated, going to make the job easier and better for your family. So if you're trying to leave behind a legacy of taking care of your family, both financially, but also by leaving them a nice package of documents to follow, a nice plan to follow, then you've really created a gift for your family and you've delivered a lot of benefit to your family. So if you need any help with any of that, please reach out to Speedwell Law. We'd be delighted to hear from you. Have a great day.